Hey everyone, it's Justin here with Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on this and all the episodes of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We're grateful to have you with us as always. We have a lot of great things happening within our organization here as we start getting closer to the end of calendar year 2025. And we have nobody else to thank but you, our followers, our viewers, our listeners. You're coming in from North America, South America, Africa, uh, Europe, Oceania, Asia, Greenland, uh, Antarctica. We're just so thankful. 100 countries and provinces and territories, 1,000 cities. Just so remarkable to be at this position here, and to be getting closer to that total episode number of 400. Whereas, as you've heard me mention, we were only supposed to hit uh, 300 total episodes before or by the end of calendar year 2025. But we found a way. We found a way. We found a way to continue to fight through adversity, to keep going when the easy thing to do could have been to stop, to give in. And I think this is a good reminder. I am just a couple days removed from my birthday. So I'm in the 40s, and by all accounts, if you ask some people, especially people back in my uh, teens, late teens, even in the 20s, by all accounts, and I think I even fell into this line of thinking for a very short period of time of I don't know that I should be here right now. I I don't know. I know that growing up brings all kinds of growing pains, even in the absolute um well, I know that going back, and this is something I really haven't discussed a lot um, publicly, but privately, and I don't know what that looks like. I know what a little bit of what the feeling was like back then, because to me, I had gone through braces twice, having acne, being somewhat bullied. Uh, Even when I was doing well on sport teams, I remember being bullied, being made fun of. I get it. We're all kids sometime, right? I don't know what impact that really had on me, but I know for a little bit of time, I remember thinking, so this is my teenage years, uh, when I mean, I'll give you two examples. One, you already know the examples I'm going to give, but the first one is overdosing on cold and cough pills. So, by all accounts, uh, I shouldn't be here after what the amount that I took. And then, secondly, I was what they call kind of burning the candle at both ends, where I was staying up late a lot, was not valuing sleep at all. Sleep was just another thing. It wasn't something that I felt I needed. I felt that I was invincible. Who didn't? Who hasn't felt that way at one time or another? And I remember coming back from, oh geez, was I 19? Maybe 19. And some of the guys I was working with in the summertime, we went up to Windsor, Canada. The drinking age for alcohol I don't know where it's at today. I haven't kept up with that. Uh, but it was less than 21, and I think it was 18, maybe 19. In any event, we were working together on the golf course, uh, day in and day out, and we decided, hey, we're gonna head up to Windsor, Canada for a night, and we'll a day slash night. So that's what we did. We either worked on a Saturday, or we would all work Monday to Friday, and then we would work either half a days on Saturdays or half a days on Sundays. And so it took us a minute to I think there's maybe five of us, could have been more. And so that's what we did. We were able to arrange, I think, where we would work on Saturday, and then we would go up to Windsor right after work or grab a shower, and then we would go up. And as soon as we got there, right, just because it was at least a few hour drive. So by the time I got there, it might have been like middle afternoon. Anyways, so we were up super late, of course. We were partying and drinking and all that. So it was legal at the time where we were at. So then we drove back. I was a passenger, I was not a driver, and we got back. And so I was hungover, dehydrated. I got home, picked up my car, and went uh, to a friend's house. It was about 2 hours away. So this is after getting literally zero sleep, zero good sleep. And I I shouldn't have went, but I did. So I drove up, and on my way back home, I was starting to, I guess, zone out, uh, start to, I guess, close my eyes when I was driving, because that's the only thing that can explain. Uh, abruptly being woken up while driving a car late at night because that's what I had done up till then. We we would, whether we were going to Windsor or not, we we would pull late nights and we'd have to be at work sometimes at 6, sometimes 6:30, sometimes even earlier in the morning. And it was relentless. I mean, it's physical labor. So you're mowing grass, you're spinning bunkers, you're cutting fairways, you're mulching, you're pulling weeds, you're doing all kinds of activities. And I just thought it was another one of those type of deals. And uh, anyway, so on my way home, abruptly was awoken. My car uh, veered off the right side of the highway and I guess grazed the guardrail. And then automatically I jerked the wheel because I was like, well, I have to get off the guardrail. And I must have hit the guardrail harder than I thought I did because when I pulled off, turned a wheel to pull off of the guardrail, went literally straight in to one of those cement barriers that separates traffic going north or south or east or west, or you get an idea. And so that's another big thing. I The airbag didn't come out. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's not so good. But it didn't come out. And there I was, all alone. My parents are out of town, and all I can think of is how am I gonna explain this to work uh, and my family? So all that being said, so that's an event that by all accounts could have also uh, taken my life and many others. Lot again, we talk about, alcohol abuse and all those things of blacking out and, overtaxing, parts of the insides of my body. And so by all accounts, being with you here today in this episode, I shouldn't really, I shouldn't be here when I look back at those types of events. That's not my thinking now, and not even close to my thinking. Because number one, I didn't even have, even at that time, I had thought, well, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it to 40, age 40. I had no plans, I had no thoughts of what that would look like, or how that would happen. But I just remember in my mind thinking, I'm having too much fun doing things I really shouldn't be doing. And like Aerosmith, says living on the edge. I mean, I was very close to the edge. I was hanging over the edge multiple times. And so it's hard for me at times to come on this show and to share what I do share, when I do share it, what I share, because I could come across and some people say, oh, well, you're just looking for pity. I'm not looking for pity. At age 44, I am not looking for anything even close to pity. What I'm merely trying to do is I'm trying to share events and things that I've been through personally. And again, those are just two examples off the top of my head of why in November of 2017, when I hit rock bottom mentally, why I made the decision to ask for help. Finally, the boulders were lifted off of my shoulders. I didn't have to fake how I was feeling. It was okay to ask for help, and I did. And up until that point, I wasn't doing it the right way if I was even trying at all. Because I think part of me, maybe at that time, was afraid, like, oh, well, if I get help, I didn't really plan that part of my life. Because, like I said, I was just planning as the teenage years went on into the 20s and so forth, that I was just in my mind, I was always going to be partying. I was always going to be going out to the club and drinking absorbent amounts of alcohol and doing things again that I had no business doing. And so that's why I said at the beginning of, well, I don't know if I should be here right now because on each, for me, I guess, for each birthday, for each birthday of mine or birthday of someone in my family's, and now with my dad having passed on and in heaven on March 1st of 2024, it really brings things into focus. And for me, having my 44th birthday, I I was reminded that each year over 40 that, man, how did I make it? How did I make it here? How did I? How did I get this far? And so you hear me and you see me and I share everything that I possibly can. Not because I'm some great person. It's because I'm actually the opposite. I'm just an average person. Give you an example, the night that I took all those cold and cough pills in my teens, was at Perkins, was out of my mind. And before I was taken to the hospital, thank God, I was just walking around the kitchen in Perkins looking for a bathroom. And then my stomach was sick, so somehow I made it back to the table I was at and became very nauseated and uh, felt like I was like walking in space. Like I wasn't, like my feet weren't touching the ground and walking. And so how I made it through that, I don't know. I mean, God's the only thing I can think of. For some reason, it wasn't my time to go. Just like when I totaled my car after coming back from Windsor, Canada. It wasn't my time to go. All the times partying and walking to and from the clubs and short sleeve outfits in some of the coldest weather. It's amazing that I didn't pass away from the cold weather, especially given the alcohol that I consumed prior to the walk over and then the walk back. Sometimes I had a ride, sometimes I didn't. For me, it was, well, this is just what you're supposed to do. Go out and you party, and that's what I thought. And that's where my assuming was very wrong. And I still make assuming mistakes to this day. I think we all do. Try not to assume, but we do. I know I do. Try not to, but we're human. We try not to judge, but we're human. And so with my dad having passed last year, it puts a whole new significance on being alive and wanting to make a difference, wanting to help people. I only cared about myself for so much of my life. Some may say that that's all I care about now, and I would respectfully disagree with you on that. And so I think one of the reasons I'm here is to help, whether I know it or whether I don't, whether somebody tells me or they don't. Give you a good example. Episode 384, we had 9-year-old published author Ryan Solomon on, and we were just a small part of his journey. Yeah, I mean, it gives me goosebumps even thinking about that. We think about helping others and how we can do that. And sometimes the best way to help others is by helping ourselves. And so what I look at as a small part of the process and helping him achieve one of his dreams of being a published author, being the youngest published author in the United States, and as far as we know, across the world. And it's moments like that or times like these that really reminds me that what we do is important. It first starts with each day is not a given. We don't know how many days, how many hours, how many seconds we're going to be left on Earth. Again, if you ask me, 24 years ago, or even earlier than that, I would have said, oh, I'm probably not going to make it to 40 because I don't want to have gray hair. I don't want to get old. I don't want to be one of those old people at the club. And so now I have a family and I'm married and I have gray hair and I'm 44. And I know there's a lot of work I have to do on multiple fronts, but I couldn't be more happy with somehow, some way, Voices for Voices coming to my mind to the extent it did. First as an event, now as a TV show and podcast, now as Voices for Voices publishing, now as in Voices for Voices production, and now as Voices for Voices gaming, and the list goes on. There's a reason I'm here. And while I don't know, I don't think I'm ever gonna know fully why I'm here, why I made it to 44, when so many others haven't. They've lost their lives tragically, or some just in their sleep. They turn in for the night, the evening, and to heaven they go. So there's not a second that goes by that I am not grateful. And I say that which with as much humility as I possibly can, because I don't know when my last turning in for the night is going to be. All I can do is try to impact things, processes, individuals in as positive of ways that I can think of. And it doesn't make me perfect. I know I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Jesus Christ is perfect. But I know where I've been, and that's really part of a big part of who I am. Because even though in my teens, looking into the future of not knowing if I'll make it till the age of 40, the gray hair and all these things are just in like that's not going to be me. I want to stay youthful, young, vibrant, and the list goes on. Don't we all? So it's important when, as I mentioned about having my birthday a short time ago and just being just happy to be alive, even when there's a lot of things, a lot of unknowns in everybody's life. But at that very moment, at this very moment, I'm happy because not because Voices for Voices is raising the most money in the world or anything like that. It's for helping people. And at the end of the day, and I put my money where my mouth is to help people, to position us, knowing there's so much more work to be done, so much. But it's because I believe in myself. I believe in my mental health. I believe in the people that are that God has put and continues to put in my life to help me make better decisions and look at things from the outside looking in and going, wow, just as I did in November of 2017 when I was at that table of 10 individuals in that psych ward. And we were going around the table and everybody saying their name and why they were there. By the time it got to me, I was speechless. Just like then, now I feel the exact same way when people are put into my life of being able to help. And it's not always with money. People sometimes always equate, well, I already help people. I already donate. I already do these things. But have you ever volunteered? Have you ever just sat on the phone with somebody and just listen? You don't have to say anything. You don't have to have the right answers, but just been there, been a lending ear. I think the gentleman's name began with the letter H when I was in that psych ward. He's an older gentleman, and he had the bracelets of, a fall risk. So the staff would know he was a risk of falling out of his bed, if he was walking, all those types of things. And I remember having just a brief conversation, and I think it was around that table when we were introducing ourselves at that first day at that group therapy. This gentleman said his name. I don't know if he gave his age or what. But what he said was, "Hi, this is my name." May gave him his age, doesn't matter. He was just an older, more experienced gentleman. And he said, "I'm here because I don't have any family. I don't know if anybody cares about me. And I don't I have a hard time taking care of myself." Anybody's had a family member or somebody that's known somebody who's had somebody. And I remember thinking many times visiting my grandparents, at the skilled living, the nursing home, whatever you want to call it. And so I would show up and it was hard. I'm emotional. And I remember there being literally a line of, I don't know if they're all Lazy Boy chairs, and we're not sponsored by Lazy Boy, so I'm not going to say Lazy Boy. I did, but there there were cushion chairs where the feet go up and you can lay back, and I mean there probably was like 40 of them. This vast room. Some were some were resting, some were mumbling, and so I would go see my loved one. Some days were good, some days not so much. That's nothing better or nothing different than us as humans, all humans. We have good days and we have days that could be better. And I remember I was talking with my loved one, and out of the corner of my eyes, I saw somebody slip and fall out of their wheelchair. And they were just laying on that hard floor. And there was some form of an alarm, like a beeping, some type of a signal to let the staff know. And so I'm with my loved one, and it took a while, 5 minutes, maybe more, until staff came and helped the individual up, going through a battery of tests, like concussion and that. So that was one thing. I was just like, oh my gosh. So that I'm not even bringing this up about the staff. I'm just saying these types of things happen, and I didn't know what to do. I froze, and there's so many of those individuals in those chairs, and some sitting in their wheelchair at the at table, sitting up, and I remember talking to the staff a couple different times where sometimes they would just be sitting at at a round table with some of the residents, and they would mention that, they're that I would be surprised on of how many that live there in this nursing home facility, how many get zero visitors, zero. And I mean, they were seen by staff and if they had medication and help getting dressed and going to the bathroom and the and so I don't know. I don't know what part that plays in me wanting to help people. And it's not even just, it doesn't matter what age people are. None of us are perfect. So we all have needs. We all have things that we could use a little help with from time to time. It is just times like those when I started to go, you know what, Justin, I wasn't quite there at that time. I wasn't quite at that breaking point, but I was getting there during during the events I just described. The week of my wedding, my grandma in her 90s passed away. And knowing she wasn't well, it didn't doesn't make it any easier because I felt guilty that I was gonna be getting married in like 2 days after she passed away, as if my mental health wasn't already out because I'm very emotional, as you can see. That this isn't the allergies; these are the little bit of the welling up of tears, and but that's just who I am. And so there was that where I don't even know if, and that was in 2017, in May of 2017. I don't I don't know if I've ever fully grieved because I was just having a heck of a time with my mental health to start. And then to layer that on top and having a huge event of getting married and then going on feeling guilty for going on a honeymoon, which my mental health was just shot. And it if we were on an upper floor, we were lucky to be able to go to a tropical destination and some hotels you get off the elevator and then you can you can literally see like almost like a 360 view and it's like, oh, we have to walk all the way around halfway to get to our room, and I was just so afraid of heights, still am. And I just was not in a I just wasn't in a good mental state. Had nothing to do. with the marriage part, it was just my mental health was just shot. And I had gone so long without talking, and I just remember I was at home. I couldn't even see my grandma because I couldn't come to the reality. So this episode, we've, we've covered a lot, and what I want it to be and what it is, and the takeaway that I'd like for each and every one of you to take away is the raw, authentic, wanting to help, wanting to be all in, not for the slogan to be all in, but just to be, I want to help people. And it doesn't have to be related to money. This show, our show, the one you've made, one of the hottest in the world for downloads, for viewing on YouTube, on Rumble, listening on Spotify, on Buzzsprout, on Apple, on iHeart, on you name it, we are on it. The Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We did not get to this episode just by fluke. When times got hard, as they tend to do, we just started putting our head down and said we want to help. Maybe this show, maybe the other show, maybe somebody somewhere can pull a nugget of information out. I think I brought up on our TikTok live the other day. And if you haven't joined us, we've been going on TikTok live on our profile pretty often, I guess, because we have a lot of books for sale. We have the Atalan, Atalan comic book. We have The Young Siren, Siren, Born, Born. We have the 9-year-old breakthrough author Ryan Solomon's first book, The Search for Drake Colton, is DrakeColton. There is The Seaman, just like you hear it. There's Enchantment's Embrace. There is The House of You, Prescription for Living, which is the reason why Voices for Voices got started. Because if I wouldn't have put that book together about my mental health, Voices for Voices wouldn't even have been a figment of my imagination because I had to get over myself many times. And one of those was putting my name as author and talking about intimate details. And uh, that was hard to do. And then there's also the House of You, 5 workforce prep tips for a successful career. And there's more on the way. There's so much more. And so whether you can donate, you can head on over to lovevoices.org. You can donate as much or as little. You can subscribe to our show on wherever you listen to your podcasts. You could also subscribe, follow us on Rumble or YouTube on our Rumble or YouTube channels. Those are things that are free to do. If you're able to chip in and donate money, that would be fantastic. We are a lot, this surprises a lot of people, but we are Voices for Voices is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization. So if you live in the United States, I'm not sure with the country to country, but if you live in the United States and you donate or you purchase any of our merchandise, which includes our books, at voicesforvoices.org, you go over to the What We Do and you'll see shop. Click on shop and you'll see so many merch items that all go towards helping us help others, mental health support, to one day be able to have a facility where anybody, anywhere can come when they're ready and get free mental health evaluations, care for as long as they need. They don't have to pay a cent. They don't have to pay a cent traveling. They don't have to pay a cent for family visiting them. That's the big goal of Voices for Voices. Because when I was in the hospital with insurance, the bill was very large. And so people look at me and say, Justin, you didn't have a problem. You didn't have a problem paying and getting that care. So, we're just gonna switch to channel. That's fine. You can switch to channel. We don't force anybody to do anything. But what I'm here to tell you is if what I represent demographically and I have a bill that I had, an expense that I had once I was discharged from the hospital for 5 days, I know that double, triple, quadruple that amount is what others are looking at paying. And so that's why one of the reasons I think that I'm still here, at least until the point where we can get this set up and get this moving. We have a lot of moving parts, a lot of partners, a lot of people that are with us on this not just idea, because it's going to happen. And so that's what I mean by helping people. We have a big goal of helping 3 billion people, at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. You can help us do that. 1 cent at a, 1 cent today, 1 cent tomorrow. One of the merchandise items is the black and white beanie that I'm wearing. So again, you want to head on over to voicesforvoices.org. You want to look over on that kind of title under URL, but where it says home and that you want to go to where it says what we do, click that, and then you'll see a bunch of options and you'll look for the word shop, SHOP, click there. And on the first row, all the way to the right, you're going to find this beanie. And I think 5 different colors. So there's black and white. I think there's red and white. There's gray and white. I think there's a navy blue and maybe a dark green, like a hunter green, with the white lettering. And this is stitched, folks. This isn't one of these ironed on deals. And we also have the golden beanie. You're gonna have to scroll all the way to the bottom right, and you're gonna see a photo of a black and white beanie because we had to get them from another factory. So that's why we have them in 2 different places. And you click on that beanie, and there's maybe like 20 different options. And one of those options is the golden beanie that has been just flying off shelves. And then if you're on Amazon, again, check out Voices for Voices Publishing. Check out David Solomon, Solomon. Ryan Solomon's the son, the 9-year-old breakthrough author, youngest author in the world. That is Ryan and Solomon. And Enchantment's Embrace is written by Ryan's mom and David's wife, Amanda Solomon. You can find that electronically. Find this, the Young Siren Born. You can find the Adelan comic book. And you can also, if you have Facebook, head on over and why don't you drop a follow on Mythical Creatures Around the World, where almost 100,000 like-minded individuals come together to unify the world, not to divide the world. So thank you for being with us. We love you. We support you. We hope you have a great day. You have the most prosperous life, whatever that means for you. And you can always come to Voices for Voices for clean content, for support, for authenticity, for transparency. And so until next time, please subscribe to all of our uh, podcast channels and share. Not share the singer. I'm talking about share. Share the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. Share our TikTok lives, all under Voices for Voices. And until next time, please be a voice for you or somebody in need. Take care. We love you all.